Hello and welcome back. This is obviously Mr. Spinks, and we are in Chapter 11 now. Got an easy one for you today, guys. It's not too hard, so make sure you're paying attention and pick up the basics. It's pretty simple. So, today we're going to be talking about percents and decimals and fractions and kind of how to convert in between them. This top one is all we're working on this video. So, make sure you're paying attention. As I said, free points coming on here. So, here we go. How do we change from a fraction to a percent? Let's start with that. So to change from a fraction to a percent, what you need to do is divide the numerator by the denominator, excuse me, to turn a fraction into a decimal. So that's step one. Divide top by bottom to turn the fraction into a decimal. So I'm going to come down to here to my example, okay, and take care of this. There's two steps here, okay? So if I were to take my calculator and take 3 divided by 10, it would tell me the answer was 0.3. That's step one. Here's the problem. That's not a percent. We've got to convert it to a percent. So how do we take this now and turn this decimal into a percent? That's the question. Well, what we do, once we get into a decimal, then we move the decimal place 2 spaces to the right. This turns it from a decimal to a percent. So here we go. If we take this decimal point at this point in time, and I'm going down to my example, and move it 2 spaces to the right, now the decimal is right there, and of course at this point you should know anytime there's an open space, we fill it in with a 0, that produces our percent. Turns out 3 divided by 10 is 0.3, which is 30%. That's our final answer here, guys. 30%. So it's a real easy move going on right there. Let's take a couple of examples and work with it. Once again, you should know by now, taking care of this on your own first and then checking my answers is the best way to go in all these situations. It really is. Alright, so starting on the examples here. What we're going to do, we're going to start by dividing top by bottom. So if you were to divide 80 by 100, it would provide you with an answer of 0.8. Your calculator would. So that's moving it to a decimal. Now we move this decimal point 1, 2 spaces to the right and insert a 0. So it turns out 80 divided by 10 is 80%. So how that goes is real simple. Let's try another one here. 16 divided by 25. Take your calculator. Take 16 divided by 25. It will produce an answer of 0.64. Once again, this is converted to a decimal. We then need to move this decimal point 1, 2 spots to the right, making it 64%. Really easy move going on there. Let's do another one. 5 divided by 8, taking your calculator, divide top by bottom. 5 divided by 8 is 0.625. Once again, move that decimal point 1, 2 spots to the right. Don't freak out there, okay? It's 62.5%. Yeah, that's possible. It's not a big deal whatsoever at all. The last one's all you. Go ahead and divide top by bottom and see what you get. When you're done, move your decimal point 2 places to the right. You should end up with an answer of 85%. So that's converting from fraction to percent. Now we've got to do a different conversion here. Now we're going to convert from decimal to a percent. This one's pretty easy actually. To convert from decimal to a percent, move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right. See, we already did this. This is just a simpler move going on here because we did it from fraction to percent. Now decimal to percent is even easier because it's already in decimal form. All you got to do is move that decimal point 1, 2 spaces to the right and leave it where it is. That's 12.5. Then you throw a percent behind it. 12.5%. Easy, simple stuff. Here we go. Same thing. Move it 2 spaces to the right and call it that number with a percentage after. Same thing, moving it 1, 2 spaces to the right and leave it right there. Leaves it as 42.5 and we throw a percent behind it. Again, easy, simple stuff. Same thing here. 1, 2 places to the right. Throw a percent behind it. Last one's a little tougher, but I leave it for you. I'll throw in the answer here in a sec, but try it out. I'm left with 9.3% on that last one. So that's going from decimal to percent. And the final thing we've got to do, we've got to go from percent to decimal. So to convert from percent to decimal, we need to move the decimal point 2 spaces to the opposite side. We've been moving to the right each time. Well, to convert from percent to decimal, you got to move it to the left. And let's take our example down here. With our example down here, if we had 25%, that's like 25.0%, like the decimal point comes after the 25 in that case. You move it 2 spaces to the left and leave it there. We would call that 0.25. Is the way that that works. So pretty simple stuff. As I said, find your decimal place and just move it 2 spots to the left whenever you're making this conversion. Let's look at some examples we've got here. 83%, well, the decimal point is right here. If I move it 1, 2 spots to the left and get rid of the percentage, it becomes 0.83. Easy moves. Same thing here. 1, 2 spots to the left, get rid of the percentage. Makes it 0.615. These are easy conversions, guys. Free points. Make sure you're getting them. Check out this one down here. It is 2.85%. Well, I'm going to move that decimal point 1, 2 spaces to the left, and hopefully, you're just like you're guessing, we insert a 0 anywhere there's a space. That makes this 0.0285%. As a decimal, excuse me. Last one, 3/4%. Be careful. You are going to have to divide 3 by 4. 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. Now that's 0.75%. We still need to make the conversion by moving it 2 spaces to the left and inserting 2 zeros. 3/4% actually as a decimal is the same thing as 0.0075. All our conversions in one. Make sure you got it, guys.